Ava's first love has late-stage liver cancer, and she wants to make a movie to commemorate him. She even asked me, of all people, to be the male lead. I begged her, Ava, don't be so cruel. Don't let the whole world know I'm just a stand-in for Daniel Reed. But she wouldn't listen, forcing me to take the role with an iron fist. 5 months later, at the premiere of the movie Starlight, she was asked which scene impressed her the most. Ava reminisced. I have to say, James's affectionate gaze is somewhat like Daniel's. Her words almost made me laugh through my tears. You should remember it well, because my eyes were unfamiliar and cold. That was the last time I ever loved you, Ava. Let's get a divorce. Daniel Reed, a 3-time Best Actor winner, is dying. Ava Thompson decided to make a documentary film for him, a final gift to record his brilliant and dazzling life. In the vast sea of actors, not a single one met Ava's standards. In her heart, Daniel was so radiant and noble that no one could possibly compare. So, she came to me. I used to be a minor actor, but I was forced out of the entertainment industry because of my resemblance to Daniel in both appearance and temperament. And the person who forced me out was Ava, my wife. James, didn't you always want to make a name for yourself in the entertainment industry? Now, I'm giving you that chance. Ava threw the script into my arms, looking down at me as if she were bestowing some great favor. She has always treated me this way, cold, arrogant, dismissive. And this was despite the fact that she was the one who proposed to me. She still felt that I was an obstacle to her love for Daniel, but I agreed. After all, I also wanted to know what made this Daniel Reed, whom fans called Starlight scattered among mortals, so special that my wife had been hung up on him for so many years. My agreement to play Daniel in the movie Starlight immediately caused a firestorm online. Many people couldn't understand why an obscure actor who had already retired would be chosen to play Daniel Reed, a 3-time Best Actor winner. They simply didn't believe I could perfectly portray such a deep and charismatic character. Some even dug into my past, uncovering everything about my time as a bit-part actor in the industry 5 years ago. They especially focused on why I left the industry. 5 years ago, I was a bit-part actor in Burbank. Although it was tough, I received a lot of praise from directors. One director once praised me, saying, even though you're just playing a small role with a single shot, you still treat it with the utmost seriousness and bring the character to life. You're a natural, James. This vast entertainment industry will surely have a place for you sooner or later. But I never got my big break. Then, Ava suddenly appeared before me and signed me to a 10-year contract. She was the CEO of the biggest film company, and all the artists under her label were well known in the industry. So when she handed me a thick stack of contracts, I was overjoyed. I thought that finally someone had discovered this pearl covered in dust and would let me shine one day. But I was disappointed. Ava didn't genuinely believe in me. She just didn't want someone who looked like Daniel and had comparable acting skills to remain active in the industry. She didn't want anyone to pose a threat to Daniel. Even if that threat never materialized, she wanted to eliminate it preemptively. So, within 2 years of signing with Ava's Thompson Corporation, all the news about me was negative. I was a diva, I disrespected industry veterans, I humiliated extras, and so on. Although none of it was serious, it ruined what little public support I had. At the time, I didn't know that everything was orchestrated by Ava, and I was still worried about how to explain myself to the director who had believed in me. But Ava extended a hand to me at that moment. James, it's okay. If you can't stay in the entertainment industry, you can stay by my side. I know you like me, and I like you too, James. Let's get married. So, I left the entertainment industry and became Ava's husband. A husband in name only, a fact known by very few people. When my old scandals were rehashed, there was a huge backlash on the internet against me playing the role of Daniel. For a time, it caused quite a stir. The name James Miller became more famous from that controversy than from all my years of struggling in the entertainment industry. Ava was furious. She printed out a stack of online comments and threw them in my face. James, you're useless. I gave you a chance, and you blew it. Useless. She didn't hesitate to curse at me. I'm warning you. If you mess this up, I'll make you regret it. I bent down and picked up the scattered papers, one by one. I looked at her coldly. Ava, you know best where these scandals came from, because you were the one who orchestrated all of it to end my career. Ava's angry expression immediately darkened. She turned to look at me, her eyes filled with ice. James, since you know my methods, you'd better behave. Otherwise, I'll make sure you become a pariah, hated by everyone. I couldn't help but laugh softly. Ava, don't forget who needs you right now. I can refuse to do this movie and still live off you. You know I don't care about other people's opinions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given up the chance to clear my name 3 years ago and willingly become the man behind Ava Thompson. Being a kept man is humiliating, but because I loved Ava, I accepted it all. But some people never know when to quit. Ava and I didn't meet just 5 years ago. I knew her and had a crush on her much earlier than she ever imagined. In fact, we were college classmates. She was the shining star in any crowd, always drawing attention wherever she went. So, she never noticed me. Accustomed to admiring gazes, her eyes passed right over me no matter how many times we crossed paths. One time, Ava's scarf was blown away by the wind and landed right in front of me. When I picked it up and handed it back to her, she smiled at me. Thank you. You're welcome. Just a simple exchange, but it stayed with me for a long time. When I tossed and turned at night, I would always think of her smile. After graduation, I dove into the entertainment industry, chasing my acting dream. A year later, she graduated, returned to her family business, and became the CEO of the largest entertainment company in the country. Years later, when we met again, Ava had already forgotten me. When she saw me, there was a flicker of amazement and surprise in her eyes, but it was gone in an instant. James, I've seen your work. It's good. Would you like to sign with the Thompson Corporation? I said I would because in that moment, I had another dream. Later, scandals about me emerged one after another. As a minor actor without resources, I could no longer find work in the entertainment industry. That day, I sat on the rooftop of the company building, letting the cold wind whip around me as I smoked cigarette after cigarette. It was then that Ava opened the rooftop door and walked over to my side. The wind lifted her beautiful long hair as she took the half-smoked cigarette from my hand. She took a light puff and blew out a perfect smoke ring. When the cigarette burned down to the filter and the last ember died, she turned to look at me. James, do you like me? Some people think they hide their feelings so well, never knowing they've already been seen through. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. The words brewing in my heart became a tangled knot in my throat. After a moment of strange silence, Ava stood in front of me. Her gaze was intense and burning, and in that instant, I saw what I thought was deep affection in her eyes. She hooked her arm around my neck and kissed my lips. James, it's okay. If you can't stay in the entertainment industry, you can stay by my side. I know you like me, and I like you too. James, let's get married. At that moment, my mind went blank. The tender dream I had chased for so many years was now standing right in front of me, telling me in a gentle and seductive voice that she wanted to marry me. The wind blew into my eyes, making them sting. I said, okay. After all these years, I had finally caught my dream. When I got home, Ava wasn't there. In the brightly lit mansion, there was only emptiness and solitude. It was so quiet I could hear my own heart beating. In the early days of our marriage, Ava and I had a honeymoon phase. I would make her a sumptuous breakfast every morning and lay out her clothes for the day. She would praise my cooking and my taste in fashion, then give me a deep kiss before leaving. In the evenings, I would sit on the couch, waiting for her to come home. After her social engagements, when she came home having had too much to drink, I would bring her a glass of honey water. She would always wrap her arms around my neck, nuzzling against me and saying, James, it's so good to have you. But now, in this once warm home, Ava hadn't been back for a long time. It had been 3 months, ever since the day Daniel Reed returned to the country. I just didn't expect Ava to come back tonight. The moment the door opened, she stumbled in, already drunk. She kicked off her high heels and staggered quickly towards me. James, why? Why does Daniel have this disease? Her cold hand touched my cheek, her blurred eyes staring at my face for a long time before she spoke softly. You two look so much alike. Why isn't it you who has to die? Silence fell. In that moment, my heart ached so much I couldn't breathe. After a tense standoff, I pushed Ava away. It's a real pity, Ava. I'm going to live a long and healthy life, while your beloved Daniel will be tormented by his disease and die horribly. Maybe Ava cared too much about Daniel. Even in her drunken haze, she sobered up the moment she heard his name. She slapped me hard across the face, tears welling up in her eyes. James, how can you be so cruel? Ava spoke, her voice choked with emotion. The woman who had always been so strong was shedding tears. I never thought that Ava and I would end up in such a miserable state. 3 years of marriage and a brief period of love had ultimately left us with nothing but resentment for each other. I looked coldly at Ava. Her concern for Daniel filled me with a level of jealousy and anger I had never felt before. I approached her, my words turning harsh for the first time. Ava, stop dreaming. You will never be with Daniel. He's dying. People with liver cancer waste away until they're unrecognizable. It's a horrible way to go. Soon, Ava, the only place you'll be able to visit him is the cemetery. In front of me, Ava's expression twisted with rage. Then a sharp pain exploded in my head, followed by a wet sensation spreading down from my scalp. The taste in my mouth was incredibly metallic and sweet. Ava looked at the ashtray in her hand in shock, at the red blood staining it. It was my blood. Ava had hit me with the ashtray from the coffee table. She frantically dropped the ashtray, helplessly clutching my sleeve. In that instant, her drunkenness evaporated, and she was completely sober. James, are you okay? I didn't mean to. She started to cry. I didn't mean to. You shouldn't have provoked me about Daniel's life and death. The hot blood flowed down to my eyelids, clinging to my lashes and making my vision tremble. I didn't say anything. I had nothing left to say. The greatest sorrow is a dead heart. At that moment, I truly understood what that meant. In the hospital, the nurse carefully bandaged my wound. Seeing my tightly pressed lips, she said, "If it hurts, just say so. Don't hold it in." I shook my head slightly, just sitting there quietly. The pain in my heart was something no medicine could soothe. Ever since I learned that in Ava's heart there was only Daniel, and that I was just a substitute she had obtained through manipulative means, my own heart had grown numb. Sitting on the hospital bed and looking out at the inky black night, I couldn't help but feel a wave of sorrow. Unconsciously, my mind drifted back to my past. My father died when I was young, and my mother, suffering from a long illness, passed away when I was 15, unable to escape the torment of her disease. As she lay dying, she tightly held my hand, her eyes already lifeless. Living is too painful, son. Mom can't hold on anymore. Live well, and don't blame your mother for being cruel and leaving you behind. After graduating from college, I went to Burbank to work as an extra. No matter the role, I always treated it with the utmost sincerity. Even without a single line, even if it was just a shot of my back, even for a fleeting moment on screen, nothing could diminish my passion for acting. I worked like that for 3 years. Although it was hard, I enjoyed it. Every different role allowed me to experience a different life. Back then, even the boxed lunches on set tasted pretty good. Later, Ava found me. I thought it was the end of my hardships, but instead, I fell into an unfathomable abyss. It destroyed my love and my career. I didn't notice when Ava entered the ward. It wasn't until a cold night breeze from the window made me shiver that I got up to close it. When I turned around, Ava was standing right behind me, holding my medical report in her hand. She trembled as she handed the report to me, her voice shaking as well. James, your blood type, it's O positive. I frowned, unable to read Ava's expression, whether it was surprise or shock. I took the medical report from her. It detailed my condition, a mild concussion, nothing serious, just a few days of rest needed. So I couldn't understand why Ava looked so shocked. I ignored her and quietly lay back down on the bed. I don't know why, but that night, Ava stayed quietly by my bedside, not sleeping at all. A mild concussion isn't a big deal, but surprisingly, Ava took it very seriously. Ignoring my protests, she insisted the doctor conduct a comprehensive examination on me. In the following days, she was unusually gentle towards me. James, the doctor said you need to eat more fruit. I've already peeled an apple for you. Here, eat it. Her eager gaze showed no trace of pretense. For a moment, I thought we had returned to the early days of our marriage. Back then, Ava would look at me with such tenderness. But ever since Daniel returned, that look was no longer mine. However, I soon discovered the reason for Ava's sudden change. That day, Ava left with the doctor. She returned to the ward 2 hours later, looking completely absent-minded. Ava sat by my bed in silence for a long time, her eyes heavy with sorrow. Daniel's illness is flaring up more frequently. He doesn't have much time left. I raise an eyebrow, indifferent. Daniel had liver cancer and couldn't find a suitable donor, leading to a severe deterioration in his condition. Everyone knew he didn't have much time left. There were even fanatics who tried to donate their own livers to save Daniel, but none were a match. It seemed his fate was to die young and tragically, forever remembered as the public's first love. Ava was silent for another moment. James, your liver is a match for Daniel's. It felt like a bomb had exploded in my head, leaving me in a state of chaos. After a moment, I came back to my senses. No more words were needed. I understood her meaning completely. I stared at Ava's beautiful face for a long time, then spoke calmly. So, Ava, these past few days weren't about giving me a full checkup. They were about matching my liver to see if it could be transplanted to Daniel, right? At this moment, jealousy and sorrow intertwined in my heart, and I couldn't help but shed tears. It was my first time crying in front of Ava, and it would be the last. Ava looked up at me, but couldn't meet my gaze. James, it's just a partial liver donation. It won't have a major impact on you. But without it, Daniel will die. James, I promise you, if you're willing to donate your liver, I will be wholeheartedly devoted to you. I'll never have any contact with Daniel again. I placed my hand over my liver. For some reason, I felt a faint pain there, and my heart ached along with it. I looked directly into Ava's eyes. Ava, a liver transplant carries risks. I might die too. Have you thought that through? Ava hesitated, pressing her lips together in silence for a long time. But eventually, she nodded. The breath I had been holding finally escaped me. She knew everything, yet she still chose to risk my life to save another man. In that case, I had nothing left to consider. I shook my head. No, I'm not willing, Ava. I will never donate my liver to Daniel. Give up on this idea. I refuse to donate my liver to Daniel. To my surprise, Ava didn't press the issue. Instead, she quickly proceeded with the film's opening ceremony and began shooting. Perhaps seeing my confusion, Ava gave a bitter smile. The liver is yours. If you don't want to, no one can force you. James, you're my husband. I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. As for Daniel, maybe it's true what they say online, that he's a star meant to stay in the sky, not to remain on Earth for long. Ava handed me the script and continued. James, I hope you can use all your skills to portray Daniel perfectly. She paused, her voice choking a bit. You've already read the script. Daniel truly was a very, very good person. She wasn't wrong about that. From the script, I learned that Daniel was indeed a good person. He certainly lived up to the title of starlight scattered among mortals. Daniel was born into an ordinary family and originally had a happy life. But one day, his younger brother was kidnapped by traffickers, shattering their happy home. While searching for his younger son, his father had an accident and died on the spot. His mother, devastated by the loss of both her son and her husband, had a mental breakdown and committed suicide by poisoning herself. This left 10-year-old Daniel alone and destitute. Daniel, having lost his entire family, grew up on the kindness of strangers, enduring many hardships to eventually become a 3-time Best Actor winner. Despite his fame and success, Daniel never gave up searching for his lost brother. He founded the Come Home Foundation, dedicated to reuniting lost children with their families. He once said, I hope that one day I can find my long-lost brother among these children. And I also hope that those who have lost their families, like my brother, can one day be reunited with their loved ones. I do what I can, hoping everyone can be reunited with their family. Many people shed tears when he said this. Every single time he attended an event, Daniel would bring a torn and blurry photo of a child, choking up as he pleaded for anyone with information to come forward. He even said that if he found his brother, he would donate all his wealth to charity. But despite searching for over a decade in the entertainment industry, there was still no news of his brother. And now, he himself had liver cancer and didn't have long to live. It was indeed tragic, making people sigh and feel a deep sense of pity. Honestly, being given the role of such a noble character made me feel deeply honored. I looked at Ava, ignoring the tears in her eyes. Don't worry. Portraying every role well is a basic quality for an actor, and I am a professional. The shoot progressed with unusual smoothness. However, Ava came to the set every day to personally oversee the production. She would sit by the camera, carefully watching my every take. Occasionally, I would overhear the crew discussing Ava and Daniel's love story in private. Oh my God, I've always heard the rumors about Miss Thompson and Daniel Reed, but I never thought they were true. A love that transcends life and death. It's so touching, isn't it? It's just a pity that Daniel Reed doesn't have much time left. Ah, so sweet even in the midst of heartbreak. But I'm curious, why didn't they get together sooner? Hey James, since Miss Thompson handpicked you, do you know any of the inside story? They didn't know I was Ava's legitimate husband, so they didn't hold back in front of me and even try to draw me into conversation. I closed my script and smiled. I don't really know. In truth, I didn't know. Although Daniel had made his mark through talent and become a star through skill, a large portion of his fan base consisted of girlfriend fans who treated him like a romantic partner. He feared that being in a relationship would cost him fans and hinder his career, so he never moved past his ambiguous relationship with Ava. Once, when a drunk Ava was hugging me, she called out Daniel's name. Daniel, I won't be a hindrance to your career. If you don't want to be with me, I'll wait for you for as long as it takes. Daniel, I'm willing to do anything for you, including marrying someone else. Daniel, anything you want, I'll give it to you. From the first time you saved me, you're the only one I've ever wanted. This scene was also in the script. A lonely Daniel, unable to afford school, was wandering the streets. A young and beautiful Ava was being harassed by a drunken thug, and it was Daniel who came to her rescue. He even beat the thug until his head was bleeding. Then he took her hand, and they ran wildly through countless streets and alleys, finally stopping by the ocean, bathed in the sunset glow. The boy and girl smiled at each other, leaving an indelible mark on each other's hearts. Later, all of Daniel's school expenses were sponsored by the Thompson family, and Ava provided countless resources, both overtly and covertly, to help him become a 3-time Best Actor. Seeing that I wasn't interested in discussing Ava and Daniel's love life, they wisely changed the topic. James, your acting is really good. When a movie is released, you're sure to become famous. Yeah, speaking of which, you really do resemble Daniel Reed. You have similar looks and temperament, and your acting is just as good. If you had become famous earlier, maybe some of his 3 awards would have gone to you. Ava walked over and sat beside me, causing the 2 crew members to hurriedly leave. She handed me a bottle of water. James, if one day you couldn't be an actor anymore, what would you choose to do? The sudden question made me turn to look at her. Ava, haven't you known the answer to that for a long time? You knew my choice 3 years ago when you destroyed my acting dream. Ava was taken aback for a moment. So you would still choose to stay by my side, right? But I coldly replied, no, I wouldn't. Ava, let's find a time to get divorced. I threw the script into her lap, opened to the page where she and Daniel first met. Hold on to your precious love story, and stop disgusting me. I never expected that Ava would once again resort to such despicable means to frame me. When the film was halfway through shooting, recordings and documents showing my refusal to donate my liver to Daniel began to leak and spread like wildfire online. The recordings were maliciously edited and clipped, resulting in this. No, I'm not willing. I will never donate my liver to Daniel. Give up on this. Daniel will be tormented by his illness and die horribly. People with liver cancer waste away until they're unrecognizable. It's a horrible way to go. I'm going to live a long and healthy life. This time, I faced an unprecedented wave of online harassment. Not only did it force the film's production to be suspended, but some crazed fans even tracked my whereabouts and threw rotten eggs at me on the street. I had no choice but to stay behind closed doors, and the film's shooting came to a halt. Now, Ava was sitting on the plush sofa in front of me, leisurely sipping her coffee. She was gently rubbing the expensive jade bracelet on her wrist, her tone as if she were discussing a trivial matter. "James, now that things have escalated to this point, you know what you need to do, don't you?" She looked up at me, a slight smile playing on her lips. "If you don't agree, the consequences might be more than you can bear." On the coffee table was the contract for the film Starlight, which clearly stated that if filming could not be completed due to reasons caused by me, a breach of contract fee of $50 million was to be paid. That's right. I didn't have $50 million, and I couldn't afford such a huge penalty. I looked at Ava seriously. "You edited and released that recording online, and you stirred up public opinion, all just to force me to donate my liver to Daniel. Ava, you really are devoted to Daniel, to resort to such despicable means." Ava's face turned noticeably pale. "James, you forced my hand. If you had agreed from the start, I wouldn't have had to treat you this way. Daniel doesn't have much time left. I couldn't afford to wait and slowly persuade you. James, my previous offer still stands. As long as you save Daniel, I'll be wholeheartedly with you. Even if you have any long-term effect from the surgery, I will take good care of you. You're my husband. You won't have to lift a finger to enjoy the best life has to offer. What more could you possibly want?" She paused, placing a tablet in front of me that showed the trending topics on Twitter. "Look, you're infamous now. If I don't help clarify things, you will never be able to act again. You'll be a pariah. James, you have no choice." I picked up the cold tablet, watching the stream of insults update continuously, feeling my heart grow colder with each one. In the end, I agreed. "Okay, Ava, I'll do it. But I want to wait until after Starlight is released to have the surgery. You know, a liver transplant has risks. I might die. This could be my last film." Ava was silent. She seemed unwilling to wait any longer. I sneered. "Ava, if you don't agree to my condition, then you can forget about getting my liver for Daniel." Eventually, Ava agreed to my request. After all, the film was more than halfway done, and with everyone working around the clock, it could be finished within a month. Ava had the money and the staff. This wasn't difficult for her. I had to admit, Ava was very resourceful. The next day, she released a recording that proved the previous one circulating online was maliciously edited. Of course, this new recording was also a fake. With the help of her online influencers, public opinion turned on a dime. Within a day, the trending topic became #Justice for James Miller. I quickly returned to the set and resumed shooting. Ava continued to visit the set daily. However, her attitude had changed. Previously, she demanded perfection in every take, but now, she only cared about speed. With the intense shooting schedule she demanded, the filming was completed and edited within a month. The rough cut of the film was ready. To accommodate Daniel, Ava decided to take me to the hospital to watch it with him. In the exclusive ward of a private hospital, Daniel lay on the bed, his breath weak, with tubes all over his body. When he saw Ava, his eyes moved slightly, and he weakly raised his hand. "Ava, you're here." Ava quickly stepped forward and held his hand. "Don't move. Just lie down and rest." It was then that Daniel noticed me. I could tell he was surprised to see me. It's rare to find someone who looks so much like yourself. He smiled at me. "James, right? Nice to meet you." Honestly, I had a certain amount of genuine admiration for Daniel a few years ago. When I was still a bit part actor in Burbank, I regarded him as my idol. I even fantasized about one day sharing the screen with him, but things didn't go as planned, and we always missed each other. I bowed to Daniel. "Mr. Reed, it's a pleasure to meet you." After watching the rough cut, Daniel's eyes were wet with tears. "Good, very good. Ava, thank you for fulfilling my lifelong dream. I never thought I would one day be the protagonist in a film." Ava also choked up. "Daniel, you deserve it. Just be strong. In a few days." Ava hesitated. "Daniel, you'll get better." In the spacious ward, there were many staff members, but at that moment, I felt exceptionally lonely and pathetic. They were all moved by the love between Ava and Daniel, while I, the legitimate husband, was just an outsider. After leaving the hospital, Ava pulled me aside. She seemed annoyed. "James, why do you still want a divorce? I've agreed to be with you wholeheartedly. What more do you want?" I sneered. It seemed she had just received the court summons. My earlier request for a divorce had been rejected by Ava, so I had been forced to file officially. "Ava, I've changed my mind. I want to add one more condition. If you want me to donate my liver to Daniel, you have to agree to divorce me." Ava lowered her head, lost in thought. I was sure she would compromise for Daniel's sake. But she took a deep breath and softly said, "No, James, I won't divorce you." She looked up at me, holding my hand tightly and speaking earnestly. "James, after this is over, let's start again. Let's be together properly, okay? James, you do have a place in my heart. Start over? How could we possibly start over? Some things, once they happen, are irreparable. No one could change that." I looked at Ava's face. She was as beautiful as she had been at 18, but the innocence in her eyes had long been replaced by calculation. She was no longer the same person. Our long yet brief 3-year marriage was an accident. Not being on the same path means we were always destined to part ways. I wasn't sad. I only felt regret. Regret that the girl I had cherished for so many years was no longer the same. Regret that the love I gave so wholeheartedly was just an illusion. Regret that we had never truly loved each other at all. I pulled my hand away from Ava's tight grip and firmly shook my head. "No, Ava, my love for you died when you chose to hurt me over and over again for Daniel's sake." At the Starlight premiere, I went on stage as the lead actor to give a speech. The 2 densely written pages in my hand were a speech Ava had personally written for me. She had said, "James, the filming has been exhausting. Leave everything else to me and just rest." Ava seemed to be trying to win me over. From the time we returned from the hospital to the week leading up to the premiere, she was with me almost every day. She even cooked a large meal for me herself. Seeing my surprised expression, her face, devoid of makeup, showed a hint of nervousness as her hands unconsciously clenched her apron. We've been married for years, and I've never cooked for you once. James, I'll be a good wife from now on." I didn't eat that meal. I threw it all in the trash. "It's useless, Ava. I won't be swayed by this. Divorce is the only topic we can discuss now." Ava held back her tears and went upstairs. She still refused to face the issue of divorce. I figured she wanted to use marriage and love to bind me, to make me willingly donate my liver to Daniel. What a pity. I doubt there's such a fool in this world. The dazzling camera flashes pulled me back from my thoughts. I casually threw the 2-page speech into a nearby trash can and strode onto the stage. It was the first time I had been surrounded by so many people, so many lights. I smiled and took the microphone. "First of all, thank you all for coming to the premiere of the film Starlight. I am very honored to be part of this excellent film." After a brief opening, I paused. Regarding some rumors about me recently, I'd like to clarify a few things. Ava's face turned pale as she whispered angrily, "James, don't say anything reckless. There's no need to mention things unrelated to the film." To promote the film, Ava had invited nearly every media outlet. If anything happened, it would be difficult to control the situation, no matter how much money she had. But what I wanted was an uncontrollable situation, especially since this was a live broadcast. Ignoring Ava's furious expression, I played a video on the big screen. It was the conversation between Ava and me at our home, where she forced me to agree to donate my liver to Daniel. Ava tried to rush forward to stop the video, but she was immediately swarmed by countless reporters and couldn't break free. A reporter shoved a microphone in Ava's face. "Miss Thompson, according to the video, you and James Miller are married. Is that right? So how do you explain your relationship with Mr. Reed? Was a rumor about James refusing to donate his liver to Mr. Reed a tactic to pressure him? The video mentions using such despicable methods again. Does this mean you've used similar tactics to frame James before? Why would you treat your own husband this way? Miss Thompson, did Mr. Reed know you were forcing James to donate his liver, Or was this a joint effort? If the surgery goes wrong and something happens to James, will you then get together with Mr. Reed? The overwhelming questions left Ava gasping for breath. It took the security team a while to separate her from the crush of reporters. Ava strode onto the stage, glaring at me. "James, you're playing games with me." I laughed derisively. "You taught me how, Ava. I'm just giving you a taste of your own medicine." She could record audio, I could record video. After being set up by her twice, how could I not be on my guard? When I agreed to Ava's deal, I'd already set up hidden cameras. This premiere was the perfect opportunity to reveal the truth. Ava was almost choking with rage, but had to swallow her anger in front of the media. "James!" It all happened so fast. The huge crystal chandelier in the center of the stage suddenly broke free, crashing straight toward me. Everyone held their breath. Some quickly closed their eyes, not daring to witness the impending tragedy. My mind went blank, but on pure instinct, I pushed Ava, who was closest to me, out of the way. Before the pain overwhelmed me, I saw Ava's face, pale with shock. I thought I heard her heart-wrenching scream, "James!" But I could only close my eyes in pain and despair. The Starlight premiere has been the hottest topic online, maintaining its high profile for a week. But I had no time to care about public opinion. All I wanted was to stay outside James's hospital room, my eyes glued to the heart rate monitor. I was terrified that in the blink of an eye, it would turn into a long, flat line. 3 days and nights. It had been 3 days and nights since James was knocked unconscious by the chandelier, and I had been thinking for 3 days and nights. I couldn't understand why James would risk his life to save me. He had clearly given up on me, wanting a divorce, wanting to leave me forever. I waited outside the ICU for 3 days until Daniel's assistant came to find me. He said Daniel was having another episode and was in so much pain that he nearly wanted to end his own life. I had no choice but to leave James's room and go to Daniel's. He was indeed in agony. The tubes had been pulled out, his lips were pale, and his eyes were vacant. When he saw me, he called my name in a pained voice. "I'm in so much pain. I'm scared. I'm scared of what will happen to you if I die." I poured him a glass of water and carefully helped him drink it. "Don't be afraid, Daniel. I will always be with you." After drinking the water, Daniel slowly calmed down. He held my hand tightly, his eyes filled with longing and hope. "Ava, when can I get the liver transplant? I'm in so much pain. I can't bear it anymore." I froze involuntarily. I thought of James, lying in the ICU, his fate still uncertain. Daniel seemed to see my hesitation. He leaned his weak body against mine. "Ava, you're my only family. You're the most important person to me. If even you won't help me, then there's no point in living." His eyes grew dimmer and dimmer. "From the first time I met you, I was attracted to you. I've fantasized countless times about walking down the aisle with you. We would have a son and a daughter, living a happy life. But back then, I was unknown, unworthy of you. So I worked extra hard, just hoping to one day be able to stand by your side. Unfortunately, that day finally came, but I got liver cancer. Ava, why does fate play such cruel tricks, keeping lovers apart?" For some reason, every word Daniel said made my heart ache. It seemed I really couldn't bear the pain of losing him. I pressed my pale lips together. "Daniel, wait a bit longer. James is still in critical condition, so we can't perform the surgery yet." Daniel slowly sat up straight, his eyes like a dead lake, his tone indifferent, as if stating something of no consequence. "It's okay, Ava. You're James's wife. You can sign the papers to give up on his treatment, and then we can immediately proceed with the liver transplant." He turned to look at me. "Ava, for me, you'd be willing to do that, right?" At that moment, a chill ran down my spine. Only now did I understand that I didn't really know the man I had loved for so many years. I had thought what happened at the premiere was an accident. I never expected my assistant to find something suspicious. She pulled me aside to a secluded corner and whispered, "Miss Thompson, after investigating, we found that the screws holding the crystal chandelier had been loosened, causing it to fall. But the day before the incident, I saw Mr. Reed's assistant sneaking around the site. He was acting very suspiciously, and he had a ladder. My assistant said a lot more, making my head buzz. Thinking about Daniel's words, it was hard not to connect the dots. I took a deep breath. Investigate this quietly and don't alarm anyone, including Daniel and his people. My assistant stared at me for a moment, then nodded. Miss Thompson, there are some things I really shouldn't say, but at this point, I can't keep quiet. All these years, everyone has seen how much you've done for Mr. Reed. But have you ever stopped to notice what James has done for you? I realized I had never really looked at James. At first, a director had recommended him to me, saying he was a great prospect who would eventually have a place in this flashy entertainment industry. So, I went to Burbank to see for myself. He was indeed remarkable. Even when playing a ragged beggar with a dirty face, his noble spirit shone through. Especially those dark, bright eyes, which surpassed those of any actor I had ever seen. But when I saw James for the first time, my first thought wasn't to promote him, but to stop him from rising. He looked so much like Daniel, and his acting was even more vivid and natural. Having two people who looked so similar in the entertainment industry was a liability. I couldn't let him become known as Daniel's lookalike. I wanted Daniel to be unique. So James's existence was like a firework that needed to be extinguished before it could fully ignite. I had him sign a 10-year contract with my company, with terms that seemed to benefit him but were actually traps I'd set. During our occasional interactions over those 2 years, I found that James was indeed a good person. He was kind and polite, worked seriously and responsibly, and often stayed up late studying scripts, making every small role he played memorable. More than once, directors praised him as a good actor. The more they praised him, the greater my sense of crisis became. So I acted. Those edited videos and recordings quickly put James on a public pillar of shame. With my manipulations, all the scripts and activities James had accepted were canceled. He was very disappointed, standing on a rooftop in the blowing wind. I don't know why, but at that moment, I saw in him the shadow of Daniel from years ago. An idea arose in my mind. Daniel wouldn't be with me because of his career, but what about James, who looked so much like him? He could become his substitute, staying by my side. He could alleviate my longing for Daniel and simultaneously eliminate James's potential impact on Daniel's career. 2 birds with 1 stone. So, I proposed marriage to James. I knew he would agree, because whenever he looked at me, his eyes were full of passion and sincerity. He liked me. I knew that. In our 3 years of marriage, James was an absolutely perfect husband. In that marriage, I felt cherished and loved, feelings I never got from Daniel. But I was too stupid. I thought James was just a substitute. My assistant is very efficient and reliable. In just 3 days, she got to the bottom of it. It was indeed Daniel's assistant who had done it. Caught red-handed, there was no way for him to deny it. The assistant frantically begged me not to call the police. Miss Thompson, it was all Mr. Reed's doing. I accidentally overheard your conversation with James, and I knew you didn't want to divorce him. James also said that if you didn't divorce him, he wouldn't donate his liver. I told Mr. Reed about it, and he was the one who came up with this plan. Miss Thompson, for Mr. Reed's sake, you can't report me. Otherwise, Mr. Reed would be implicated for conspiracy to commit murder, and he wouldn't be able to get away with it. Miss Thompson, you love Mr. Reed so much. As long as the liver transplant is successful, you two can be together. Why bother with how it happens? Does it really matter? Does it matter? Those 3 short words made me think of the moment James pushed me away. That day, it really did matter. But what should I do? Daniel and James, how could I possibly choose? My assistant saw my hesitation and sighed. She took out her phone and opened the photo album. Miss Thompson, maybe these photos will help you decide. In the photos, Daniel was with 2 other men. They looked familiar. I thought for a moment and then remembered. They were the 2 men who had tried to harass me when they were drunk all those years ago. And in the photos, Daniel was handing those 2 men a bag of money. Nothing more needed to be said. Everything was clear. I went to the hospital. Daniel looked much better. His complexion was even a bit rosy. When he saw me, he happily asked me to sit down. Ava, you decided, right? When are we doing the surgery? You know my body can't wait much longer. Daniel seemed certain that I would choose him. I didn't respond. I just took out my phone and showed him the photos my assistant had sent me. Daniel's face instantly lost its last bit of color. What? What does this mean? I looked up at him. Daniel, don't you want to explain? Daniel looked panicked, but quickly composed himself. Oh, that must be a scene from some show that got photographed. Such a clumsy lie made me frown, but my heart remained very calm. These two men are the ones who try to harass me. So from the very beginning, you were lying to me. Right from the start, it was all your setup. He had been scouting for a target, and I, being beautiful and wealthy, was exactly what he needed. So he teamed up with those two thugs to stage a hero saving the damsel act, all to make me fall for him. Then he climbed, step by step, on my shoulders higher and higher, until he reached the top. But the higher you climb, the more exposed you become. Those two thugs were his weak point, so Daniel had to keep bribing them with money. Daniel remained silent. After a while, he flew into a rage. He smashed the items on the bedside table, fruits and medicines scattering all over the floor. Ava, what's the point of questioning me now? So what if I lied to you? Haven't I been good enough to you all these years? Haven't I helped you make a lot of money? I owe you nothing. I get it. You've had a change of heart. You can't bear to let James die, so you're bringing up all these old matters to make yourself feel better. You're despicable. Disgusting. I had never seen such a crazed Daniel before. From a sunny boy to the gentle and kind star, he had always been kind and gentle. Now I saw the real Daniel, and he was hideous. My heart sank. Daniel's vile words hurt me more than the truth ever could, and they made the last bit of love I had for him vanish completely. Daniel, to save your own life, you bribe your assistant to try to kill James. Who's the despicable one here? Daniel, at that moment, looked like a demon crawling up from hell, craving blood. His face was as pale as paper, and his eyes glared at me with a fierce light as a sinister smile spread across his lips. It's all your fault, Ava? If you hadn't refused to divorce James, I wouldn't have had to come up with such a plan. I'd already given up on living. I was just planning to drag out my last days. It was you who told me James could give me a liver, that I could survive. You gave me hope, and now you want to cruelly take it away. Do you know how painful chemotherapy is? Do you know how terrifying it is to count down your days? Do you know how scary it is to close your eyes at night, not knowing if you'll ever open them again? How could someone who has seen the light be willing to let go of that faint glimmer in the darkness? Ava, it's you who harmed James, and it's you who harmed me. I was stunned. The cold wind blowing in from the window seeped into my very bones. It was so cold, a cold that felt like it was killing me. In the end, the evidence of Daniel bribing his assistant to orchestrate the accident was handed over to the police. His assistant was arrested, and Daniel, suffering from severe illness, was released on bail for medical treatment. However, Daniel's title of Starlight Scattered Among Mortals was ruthlessly torn down. Anonymous accounts on Twitter dug up every sordid detail of Daniel's past. He was indeed an orphan who grew up on the charity of others, but he was also a child with sticky fingers who frequently stole from the other children. His charity, the Come Home Foundation, was exposed as a front for money laundering. Even more shocking were the revelations from insiders that Daniel's missing brother hadn't been lost, but had actually been abandoned by him. Daniel had shown jealousy towards his brother multiple times and had even made threats to kill him. All of Daniel's good deeds were revealed as mere covers for his ugly heart. The film Starlight, starring James, was pulled before it could be released. My company suffered heavy losses. Due to my relationship with Daniel, I too faced online harassment and a police investigation. Those who manipulate public opinion will eventually be consumed by it. Daniel and I were no exception. James woke up 2 months later. It was just as winter arrived and everything had finally settled. The day he was discharged from the hospital, it started to snow. I suddenly remembered that the day I first truly saw James was also a snowy day. We looked into each other's eyes, but our expressions were different. Now, after everything, our gazes met again. His was calm and indifferent, while mine was filled with deep emotion. James, I called his name. Thank you for saving me that day. During the time you were unconscious, I did a lot of thinking. It was my fault. I wronged you. You gave up your dreams to be with me. You gave me your heart, and I trampled on it again and again. If it's possible, I hope you can give me a chance to make amends. I didn't dare to look into his clear eyes. My voice grew more and more choked as I spoke. But James's indifference shattered my last bit of hope. We have no future together, Ava, and you will never have a chance to make amends. The moment the harm was done, it became a permanent scar. Ava, if you truly feel sorry for what you did, then agree to the divorce. Let's each live our own lives from now on. Stay away from me. James's voice was so cold it pierced my heart. I could only stand helplessly in the distance, cold snowflakes falling on my nose and gradually melting. I didn't even know if the drops on my face were melted snow or my own cold tears. So many times before, I had spoken to him with the same cold and heartless words, never caring if he was hurt. What goes around comes around, and now it was my turn to suffer. In the end, I agreed to the divorce. After a period of recovery, James looked to be in good shape. I heard that the director of Starlight thought highly of him and had decided to give him the lead role in his latest film. This director was highly regarded in the industry, and with his support, James would surely shine brightly in the entertainment world. He would walk the star-studded path that was always meant for him. I watched James's figure gradually disappear, feeling an increasing emptiness inside me. Suddenly, he turned around. "Goodbye, Ava." Then he left without looking back. I knew this goodbye was forever. James no longer wanted to see me. As night fell and the stars twinkled, I finally understood. I once had a true star in my life. He was brilliant, bright, and shone without any need for embellishment. But unfortunately, I lost him.